So you're mixing your vocals, but you hear that there's a lot of this high and harsh S sound coming through, and it's just really annoying, but you don't know how to get rid of it. If that's you, then this video is for you. If you follow this tutorial step by step, you'll never have to hear that S sound again. So let's get right to it. Okay, so I'm gonna be in FL Studio, but these same principles will work in any other sort of DAW. All you have to do is just take the same thoughts and ideas that I'm talking about and apply them to your own DAW. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it. Okay, so before we even get to mixing the vocals at all, I want to talk about how you record your vocals. So a big contributor to getting rid of that S sound would be really thinking about the way you record your vocals. So first off, if you're singing the S sounds and making them super prominent in your vocal recording, then they are going to come through the mix a little bit more and they will be harder to cut out. So think about that when singing. Also, having a good pop filter or something of this matter is a great idea when trying to cut out this S sound and in general for just getting a very clean vocal recording. But yeah, thinking about the way you want to record your vocals is a very good way to combat the S sound as well as getting a clean vocal recording. So with that out of the way, let's get into mixing. Okay, so the three main plugins that are going to help us when taking away that S sound are EQ, compression, and then a Deesser. So right now I'm going to show you how to use those three plugins to completely take out that harsh S sound. Okay, so right here, what we're going to start out with is a very simple subtractive EQ. So in a lot of my other videos, there are so many tutorials on how you can get to this point with your EQ when talking about cutting the low end and subtracting some of these low mid to mid areas. So I'm not necessarily going to talk about how to do this in this video. If you want to learn that, you can click the card right up here, or I'll have it linked in the description. So really the part that matters when talking about the high S sound is closer to the high, mid, and treble areas. So I'm going to show you how to combat that high S sound when EQing these higher frequencies. So right here, what I'm going to do, obviously we want to boost it a little bit, as if you've seen my other videos, you know that boosting the high end will give you a lot of clarity and it will help your vocals stick out. So I'm still going to boost this high end, but we have to be careful about how we do it. So obviously we don't want to boost it too much, as if we boost it like all the way up right here, it'll sound way too high end heavy.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out.
As you can hear, it just sounds pretty bad. So all I'm going to do is boost it just enough so I gain the amount of clarity that I want, but not too much to the point where it's getting a little bit harsh and too high end heavy. So I'm going to start right here at about the high mid area, or around 2K, and boost it probably up until about there. And this is just a preference thing, so I'm going to do this by ear with my vocal in the background.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out.
So yeah, right there, as you can see, we gained some of that clarity. But now the problem with this is that you can hear some of those S sounds really coming through now, and it gets a little bit annoying to listen to. So the first thing that we can do to help cut out these S sounds is use the actual EQ to subtract out some of those frequencies. So all I'm going to do is play through the vocal, and then with the last knob right here, I'm just going to sweep through the high end and find those harsh S sounds that I don't want, and then just subtract them. So let's do that.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out.
So as you can hear right here, I think this is probably the harshest point of that S sound. So what we're going to do is cut this out, probably about that much right there.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down.
But you don't want to cut out too much, because you still want some of that clarity in the S sound, just not as much to where it's kind of ear piercing.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out. Everyone see my face now, but me.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. Again, this will come down to preference and just kind of getting a feel for what you want your vocals to sound like, but this is kind of my method with the EQ at least. So yeah, just practice around with this EQ and use this method to help you kind of start out with cutting out that S sound, and you should be good. Okay, so the next big contributor when it comes to cutting out that S sound will be a compressor. So in a lot of vocal recordings, the S most of the time will be a louder sound than a normal syllable. As you can see right here, these words with no S syllable in them are going to have slightly less volume than the S syllable, as you can hear right here.
It said I'm gone.
When I say said right here,
It said I'm gone.
that syllable is just a tad bit louder than the others, and with a compressor, we can combat that and cut that out ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do with the compressor is I'm going to compress the vocals enough so that we can cut away some of the S sound and some of those peaks in volume, but not too much to the point where I'm just completely crushing the vocal. So to do that, what I'm going to do is turn the ratio up to about 3:1. This is just where I like my ratio, but you can put it wherever you like. And then for the threshold, I'm going to play their vocal recording and then turn the threshold down until it starts to affect those S noises. So let's hear that.
Said I'm gon' beat it, 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 said I'm gon' beat.
Okay, so I think around negative 19.4 decibels is where I can just hear it slightly start to affect those S noises. And since those S sounds are most of the time the peaks of the vocal recording, this amount of compression should be good for the rest of the vocal. Okay, and for the gain, since it's the first compressor on here, I'm not going to turn it up at all. And then attack and the release, I'm just going to turn them up ever so slightly, just because I don't want it to hold on to the vocal for too long. And then for this specific compression plugin, it has a type of compression that you can use. And keeping on the track of cutting away at that S sound, if we put this on the soft preset, the compression will be softer and it will allow those S sounds to present themselves a little bit less harshly. So yeah, that's going to do it for the compressor. Okay, so now we have a couple plugins in between the next one that is really going to help us cut out that S sound, which includes the fresh air, another EQ, a limiter, and then this will take us to the Maximus, which is going to act as our de-esser. So what you can do in the Maximus is you can go over here to presets and then click on de-esser narrowband. Now what a de-esser is, as it kind of says it in the name, is it basically can be used to de-ess your vocal recording. So when on the de-esser narrowband preset, it's going to single out that S noise, and the more you turn it down right here, the more it's going to turn that S noise down. So one disclaimer about using a de-esser is if you don't do the prep work of taking away some of the frequencies in the EQ and making sure your compression is right for the vocal, if you just slap this on and plan on it saving all your problems with the S's, it's not going to sound as good as if you do that prep work. So it's better not to fully rely on your de-esser plugin to take away all those S noises. However, if you do have a really good de-esser plugin that you like to use and you love the sound of it, then great, do that. But I'm just saying sometimes it's better to do the prep work with the EQ and compression to get a more professional and finished sound for your vocal recording. Okay, anyways, with that said, what we're going to do since we've already done the prep work is we can just barely turn this down. We don't have to crush it too much, because if we do crush it too much, we're going to lose a lot of that clarity in the vocal, as you can hear right here.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name like she vindicated.
As you can hear, we just lose a lot of that clarity. So all I'm going to do is just mix this in like I do with a lot of my other plugins and get it to the point where I really like the sound of it.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name like she vindicated. All the red flags, what she...
Also, if you go to the EQ right here and see where those main S frequencies are coming through, you can use the de-esser. As you can see right here, it has kind of a frequency range where you can go side to side. You can use the de-esser to either narrow or widen where you want those frequencies to cut out. So let's see where they are on the EQ.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear.
So as you can see, that jump right there, it jumped from about 5K to like 7K. So on the de-esser over here, what we can do is we can narrow it from 5K to 7K like that. And it's only going to take out those frequencies. Now this is probably a little bit narrow, as that specific S frequency came in just that specific part of the vocal recording. So we can widen it a little bit, but this is going to be where the main S frequencies are in my specific vocal, but it might be different for yours. So you're going to have to check it yourself. So right here, I'm just going to play the vocal recording and turn it down to my liking.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name like she vindicated all night long, yeah, she be call my phone.
So also another good thing about narrowing it this much is that you can turn it down more without sacrificing the clarity of your vocal. As you can hear, once I start to widen it out like this,
got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name.
We lose a lot of that clarity, but the narrower it makes it, the more grace we have when crushing the S sound down.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name like she vindicated.
Okay, so I think that sounds pretty good. And again, this will just take practice and hearing it a bunch of times to figure out what you like and what you prefer to listen to. But you can use these steps as a guide to create a mix that you really love to listen to. So all the plugins on that mix took my vocal from this.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name like she vindicated. All the red
to this.
Got a new one like an innovator, she won't clear her name like she vindicated. All the red flags, what she indicated, now stand up and evacuate it.
So as you can see, we have so much clarity and so much crispiness in that vocal, yet the S sound still isn't in your face and just piercing your ears, which is exactly what we're going for. Okay, so that's the end of the tutorial. I hope this video really helped you out. If it did, please leave a like. Also, drop your artist name in the comments because I want to hear your guys' songs and vocal mixes. Again, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
She's gone, but she's replaced now. Laying on the floor face down. All of my mind is grayed out. Everyone see my face now. But man, girl, can't you see?